Public Group Christensen as Ambassador of Denmark to Indonesia. For Mr. Rasmus, please welcome to the stage.
Here we go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming to this breakout session free, I think it is, on circular economy inspirations from Europe. I'm very happy to see you all, and I look very much forward to a fruitful discussion in the two panel debates that we have in front of us this afternoon that will focus on important points in the circular economy within the topics of innovation and technology, as well as construction and infrastructure. So in the next 2 to 3 hours, we will hear some very, I think, interesting presentations on how to implement the circular agenda within these topics, presented by a variety of stakeholders from academia, the private sector, and government. And these presentations will, among others, focus on the importance of a circular supply chain, as well as design and construction in circular buildings. In the first panel, the speakers are Kanan Govindan, professor from the University of Southern Denmark, Dr. Harold Frank from One Earth, One Ocean, and Tommi Vuorinen from VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And in the second panel, we have John Sommer, who is the Director of Strategy and Business Development at MT Højgaard, a Danish construction engineering company, and also Jessica Rice-Lefles, Circular Economy Advisor at the, I think this is here in Dutch, Rijkswaterstaat, is that correctly pronounced? And Martin van Nieuwenhoven from the Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment, also from the Netherlands. So the session today will center around circular economy in Europe. Circular economy is indeed a concept that makes economic growth sustainable and reduces dependency on extraction of raw materials. And circular economy in Europe is to a large extent pulled by all stakeholders in society, not only by governments and not only by industry as a civil society. It is an agenda that demands linkages between all stakeholders and a common vision for a sustainable future. But it holds major potentials, not only for the environment, but also for the competitiveness of the private sector going forward. By using less material and higher recycling rates, it means that companies can get much more value out of less input. Also benefiting the government because it reduces the amount of waste to be managed by the local government authorities, and ultimately public spending on waste management will decrease. Therefore, the circular economy agenda in Europe has been driven both by the governments, but also to a very large extent by industry within many sectors. Of course, I could speak in great detail about the potential in some of these sectors, but I will probably go a little bit too far, and I think we will rather listen to the speakers. But it's clear that in many areas, such as plastic conversion and waste management, also in areas like food and beverage, I think they're discussing that in the room just next door, electronics manufacturing, e-waste, and of course, which we'll discuss here, construction and the built environment, there is an enormous potential. The European Parliament estimated in 2016 that the European Union's GDP could increase up to 7% by 2030 as a result of the introduction of circular economy principles. And of course, there is also a very big potential for circular economy here in Indonesia, with the government's new growth targets and a strong focus to reduce waste. In Denmark, circular economy is also very high on the agenda, manifested both within the government and industry. And government and industry is really working together with common overall visions to promote and implement a circular economy. And the private sector is definitely doing its part, and I think we will hear more about that from some of the interventions later. Here in Indonesia, Denmark is working closely with the government of Indonesia on waste management and promotion of circular economy. And we are today also happy to announce that we will support a new project by the UNDP Indonesia and Systemic to help the national government and the private sector in Indonesia to develop an actual national circular economy strategy. Something that we developed in Denmark a few years ago, and that was indeed a very powerful tool to promote this agenda. And with sufficient public and private engagement in this strategy, I think we can all, together we can find the potentials of circular economy in Indonesia and within a range of sectors. So, without further ado, I will pass on the floor to the first panel, but thank you again for coming today, and I look very much forward to follow the discussions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, His Excellency, Mr. Rasmus. But you may not leave the stage first, because we will have token of appreciation handed by the coordinator of this program. I will invite Mr. Mr. Rian, sorry, to come to the stage and to give the token appreciation for Mr. Rasmus. Yeah, maybe you can move to the center a little, to the center. Okay.
So what does this represent? It's a sustainable approach.
Okay, give applause for Mr. Rasmus and also Mr. Yan. Okay. 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 Enough. Thank you so much for His Excellencies Mr. Rasmus and also Mr. Yan for the time and also for the speech. And ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the first session in this breakout tree. And the big theme in this breakout tree is circular economy. Inspiration from the Europe, and for the first session we will focus on innovation and also technology. But before I call all the speakers, I'm not calling the speakers, but I will invite the moderator who will introduce you the speaker and also conduct the session one. Please welcome Ms. Faiza from Waste for Change. Give applause for Ms. Faiza.
So, good evening, His Excellency Mr. Rasmus, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Faiza Fauzia, the moderator for this session. So, I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome you to join this session. And the program for this evening, we will learn more about best practice, idea, process, inspiration related to innovation and technology from Europe. And before the presentation begins, I would like to welcome our panelists to come to the stage. The first is Professor Kanan Govindan, University of Southern Denmark. Please give applause. And Dr. Harald Frank from One Earth, One Ocean. And Mr. Tommy Forinen from VDT Technical Research Center of Finland. Okay, so this session would be really interesting because this session will be very, very interesting because we have academicians and also representatives from private sector. And first of all, I will introduce first for our first panelist, Mr. Kanan Govindan. He is professor and head of Center for Sustainability, Supply Chain Engineer from University of Southern Denmark. His research area including circular economy, supply chain management, and ecological footprint. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Kanan Govindan, and he will have 15 minutes presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I will go to the stage since I will be using the slides. Do we have the pointer? Can I have the point? So good afternoon. Welcome to the session. My name is Kannan Govindan. I did my master's in industrial engineering and PhD in modeling of forward and reverse supply chain. And I'm also visiting professor in various universities in China, Taiwan, Indonesia. I'm also part of this world-class professorship under Indonesian UMM University now. And I have published so far 250 articles in the international journals with 19,000 impact. Next. So this is my outline for today's presentation. I'll be introducing, no need to introduce circular economy. So already many people, they have talked about circular economy. But in my case, I would like to bring the technological aspects which could help the circular economy implementation process. And we will be seeing a little bit on examples of the used cases, then future research directions. Next. So you are aware of what is meant by linear economy and then the circular economy. So we won't spend too much time. Next. So when we look into the circular economy as a life cycle perspective, so it starts with extraction of materials and then it goes to the manufacturer. Then once the product is made, we try to move the product or transport the product to the customers. Then we use it. Then what happens? So after that, we convert this linear economy into the circular economy aspects by bringing into recycling, remanufacturing, refurbishment, all those circular economy activities in a much more broader sense. Instead of looking into only recycling or remanufacturing, we need to think about the whole supply chain or the value chain perspective. So here, if you try to bring the whole value chain perspective, then you'll be thinking about circular economy as a life cycle itself, starting from the virgin materials until it gets disposed and so on. Next. Then everyone is aware of this circular economy butterfly diagram proposed by the Ellen MacArthur one, which consists of the various circular economy activities. The right-hand side is with the products and the technical products and then the biological products. So what is going to be much interesting in terms of this circular economy diagram? Next, please. So we were thinking about in the circular economy, talking about clean inputs, starting from the extraction site itself. Then we are also talking about how we can use this recycle, refurbish, upgrading, then maintenance and all those things. So we can try to utilize the upcycling or downcycling of the waste. Then we can look into the refurbishment and upgrade. But the main objective of the circular economy is not looking into the outer cycles. So we were doing with recycling, refurbishment, but what is more interesting is that we need to have a transition that goes from the outer cycle to the inner cycle. So that's the most interesting part in terms of the research, as well as in terms of the practical aspects of implementation of circular economy. Next. Then what are the challenges that could happen? So whenever we talk about the circular economy, we were thinking about circular economy in only one perspective. So mostly in terms of the production perspective. So what happens if we change the circular economy from the production's perspective into a consumption perspective? No, previous slide, please. So what is produced and why the product is produced, we need to be very clear whether we are producing the product that is based on the consumption pattern. So we are producing it in different countries because it was globalized cheap production challenge, but another one is it will have a challenge of repairing and upgrading. If you are looking into only the cost of the production, by ignoring the repairness and then the upgrading, then we are totally ignoring the circular economy activities. Then the last one, when and why do product become waste? So if you are not going to maintain, or if you are not going to look into the circular economy perspective rather than looking into only the linear economy perspective, then we will have the product with most waste that goes to the disposal side. Next. Then when we talk about this resource flow and loops, we have different types of resource flows in the loop. The first one is the linear flow, but then what we can do is like minimizing the resource use per product, so we can convert that linear flow into the circular one. Second one, can we use the same product but then little bit extend the life of the product? So you can increase the life extension of the linear product as well as the life extension of the circular product. So some of the things could be like upgrading the products and then looking into upgrading the products into the circular loop and so on. Thank you very much. Then, so we are trying to categorize the trends. So how can we categorize the trends of the circular economy? So one is sustainability trend, another one is technology trend. So this session is more about the technology one. I'll be focusing or giving some short introduction about how we can do this classification. So in terms of sustainability trend, we can focus on circular economy. Circular economy, then how the circular economy is linked to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and then how it is linked to the resource efficiency. So when we talk about the circular economy, we are decoupling the value creation from the resource consumption. So potential is 1.8 trillion euros per year in Europe. Then 17 goals, uptake by the businesses, NGOs, and governments. And in terms of the academic side, we are also trying to link the circular economy and the sustainability goals. And we can be very proud to say that my university was the first university to take the initiative to look into the sustainable development goals. Even though we have a lot of criticism and everything, but we were successful in terms of like taking an initiatives regarding the sustainable development goals. And we have also obtained a project linking circular economy and the sustainable development goals, how to achieve the sustainable development goals through the implementation of circular economy under Industry 4.0 environment. Then the last one is the circular economy with huge potential in the installed bases and savings of money and environmental and the risk. So when we look into the, I will skip this one. When we look into the 2030 Global Sustainable Development Goals, currently in terms of like SDGs global ranking, Denmark is in the second position. And when we look into the technological trends, we can classify the technological trends into clean tech, green tech, system tech, problematic tech. So when we talk about the clean tech, so this is our focus. So already we started with the clean tech and the green tech. Now we are moving into the system tech where we will be integrating different types of intelligent Industry 4.0 technologies into the whole value chain one. So when we talk about the clean tech, so clean tech focuses on better solutions, but is the actual technology optimized for the sustainability? We don't know. Then, or do we have a forgive its sins? No. How to create a clean tech? So these are all some of the open challenges we have created, and this is one of our national project which we have submitted to MADE for the Manufacturing Academy of Denmark. And open challenges, hopefully we will be receiving some funding for this project. Then when we talk about the green techs, like there were hundreds of methods and tools for green tech solutions, and companies have a difficulties in prioritizing, and we need to focus on process rather than merely on the products. So that's why we have also developed, our center has developed a toolkit that could implement the circular economy or any kind of sustainability process into their companies. So we are also promoting that toolkit. In terms of system techs, we offer the potential to provide products as a service, then the decoupling value delivery from the consumption pattern. And then the system tech can set to play an ever increasing role in our modernization society by bringing all these Industry 4.0 technologies. So I will also introduce to those technologies. And in terms of problem tech, we need to solve the problem in a much more life cycle perspective, and need to be aware of rebound effects, need to take responsibility for waste and to end it. So this is one of the major area which is also focused in the Indonesian context called as extended producer responsibility. Then the circular economy offers a good solution to all these elements. Then, so how to solve the circular economy problem? So one such solution could be through integrating the technologies. So we know the evolution of technology started from Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Now we are in Industry 4.0. In the academic side, we are also thinking about Industry 3.5. Sometimes we say that, okay, we are at 3, and then we are promoting 4, but sometimes some of the industries are in between 3 and 4. So we are also redefining the technology in 3.5. And some of the evolutions. When you look into the different items which does not exist before 2006, then when we look into the speed of development, you can see telephone, it took like 75 years to reach 100 million customers, and mobile phone 16 years, Facebook 4 years. But then when you look into the last one, the Pokemon Go, just 25 days, 100 million customers. That means technology is more powerful to reach anything. So one of the way to implement the circular economy could be through the Industry 4.0 technologies. And what happens with the internet minute also? So in terms of like how much data is collected and accumulated, but the another challenging question is, are we really using those data? That's also a big challenge. So then we can also bring into this big data analytics concept into the data collection part. So once we made this Industry 4.0 as a compulsory tool or the driving force, then we will have a lot of challenges to implement those technologies also. So if you look into the different technologies available, these are all the various technologies. I was given only 15 minutes, so I cannot go through all this. But I can say that we can achieve 4 benefits out of this Industry 4.0. The first one is the productivity. That's what everyone is looking for. Then the second one is the flexibility through integration of machines and robots. Third one is we are facing a lot of problems. Why we are creating waste? Most of the problems are related to the quality issues. If you can eradicate the quality issues, then we can reduce the production waste, not the consumption waste, at least the production waste. Then the speed. Everyone is thinking about, can I get the product immediately? Everything is fast. And then we can also improve the safety, working conditions, training and collaborations, environmental protections, and innovation capability. This is part of the circular economy objectives. So we are looking for safety, working conditions. If you look into the waste, electronic waste, we need safety. if you're doing some kind of recycling, informal recycling, then there is no safety. So you can bring the technology and then improve the safety aspects. So what are the research opportunities? Just marry these two popular notions, sustainability and Industry 4.0, and circular economy is part of the sustainability, I would say. So this is how I try to marry this one as a small short paper or something like that. I keep this Industry 4.0 in the middle as a core element. Then I will look into the circular economy aspects, sustainable manufacturing, and then the life cycle assessment one. And how we can achieve this? We can achieve Industry 4.0 and sustainable manufacturing. So various technologies could be used under different conditions for different areas under the sustainable manufacturing. Then in terms of circular economy, we can look into this real-time data for inputs and outputs when we are trying to reuse or redistribute, then data for gas emissions, energy efficiency, solid waste management, carbon footprint. So we have different activities, circular economy activities, and how we can link the Industry 4.0 here. Same goes to the life cycle assessment. And this is one of the project we are running for the EU under the MAID, which is called a circularity project, how we can use this circular economy one, and what are the different technologies we can use it. So mapping of technologies versus the building blocks of the circular economy. So these are all the technologies we are defining it, 3 different types of technologies, and then the building blocks. And a little bit on the circular business model pilot projects. We have initiated the Grundfos to implement the circular economy aspects. So here the pilot for circular pumps, understanding the incentives and means of take back, enhance the focus in the IoT and big data, and design for circularity and promoting the remanufacturing one. Then another big industry in Denmark is the offshore wind industry. And we have promoted the circular economy concept to the wind industry forum. It's only in the initial stage we have proposed this. And we were talking about the whole value chain perspective, creating the business models, and then how to implement in the circular economy activities. And few examples about this different activities and how the circular economy could be used in different activities of wind industry. So thank you for your attention.
Please give applause to Professor Kanan Govinda.
Thank you.
And now we will move to our second speaker, and it will present about collaborative project on hotspot littering removal in waterway of Bekasi. Alright, without any further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Harald Frank from One Earth, One Ocean. Please give applause.
This morning we have heard a lot of important items regarding circular economy. We have built a cleanup catamaran to give a contribution for reduction of plastic litter in the rivers of Bekasi. We have prepared a small video. I don't know whether it is it's going. I get the signal. Okay. Oh, it works. Okay, could be we take it at the end of the presentation, and I start with my slides. Yeah, for sure. It's a real challenge to do it in 15 minutes, but I think there's no chance. I think my screen is too small for the audience.
Sorry, there is due to technical problem. So we'll wait around 5 minutes, and then maybe I can ask question first.
I think
okay?
it's would be a good idea to give in advance some information because it's not so easy to explain it only by word, because I'm not a native speaker in English. So it's better to give us with pictures, I think. Do they need the data once more? This is in between of all of the presentations. Do they need once more the data? Okay, fine. Technology is working. Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, good afternoon, and thanks for invitation to ICEF. My name is Harald Frank. I'm a management consultant for the non-profit organization One Earth, One Ocean, located in Germany. Today I'm here as a project manager of our joint river cleanup project in Bekasi City, representing our great partnership with Schwarz Group and Waste for Change. Hannah, Zano, Faris, Atitia, Lennart, good of you to be here, and it's a pleasure for me to present our project to all of you here at ICEF. Let's start. 15 minutes is a really challenging task. The title of the presentation is Hotspot Litter Removal in Waterways of Bekasi City, and this is exactly what we intend to do in the next 3 years. The aim is the cleaning of river sections and river banks with our special clean-up boat. This is a catamaran named Sea Hamster. It's a 3 years project funded by Schwarz Group, and this is a part of the Schwarz Group new strategy named Reset Plastics, and therefore we go ahead with the next slide. This is one too much. The agenda is a challenge, project partners, project plan, the idea goals, structures, project equipment, the cleanup catamaran, Seehamster, and litter removal recycling concept. This is still in progress. We have just started the project, and at that stage we have not more information. The challenge. I think we all are familiar. What's going on there? I think we are all familiar with these frightening data calculated in 2017. Without going in details of the table, we see tremendous amounts of waste reaching the ocean via the rivers. The most and top polluting river is the Yangtze in China, with about 400,000 tons per year. And this problem is a global problem and must be tackled locally. And this is what we intend to do, to reduce the amount of waste in a first step in the river sections, and in a second step, hopefully, to stop it completely. Technical problem? Okay. The marine plastic waste is recyclable material and should be recycled. We intend to recycle various collected plastic fractions, PE, PP, PET, and the joint project is intended to make a contribution to the reduction of river and bank waste in the Bekasi city area. We have just started the project and are still doing administrative work, working on details of the recycling concept for the collected plastic waste, and working on timetable and milestones. Thanks to all project partners and supporters to giving us the chance to start with this sustainable Seehamster project in Bekasi city. Now I give some impressive information about the Schwarz Group. Schwarz Group is the product funder and gives recycling technology. Schwarz Group is a trading company that operates its own food production facilities. The two trading divisions, Lidl, discounters, and Kaufland hypermarkets, as well as disposal and recycling companies. The headquarters is in Germany. A really powerful company. You will see that the figures 104.3 billion in sales, and the currency is euro, nothing else. 12,100 stores, 430,000 employees in 30 countries. GreenCycle, as a member of Schwarz Group, was founded as an in-house waste management company in order to optimize the disposal of its own supermarkets and warehouses. In the meantime, PreZero has become the 5th largest waste management company in Germany and operates in Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, and Italy. The figures are 0.5 billion sales in euro, 3,000 employees, 80 locations, 30 sorting and recycling plants, and about 4 million tons of recyclables per year. Can you go on? Okay. 1.5 years ago, the plastic strategy Reset Plastic was launched by Schwarz Group. Reset Plastic offers a holistic approach to plastic and focuses on recycling management. They have two goals: 20% less plastics used at Lidl and Kaufland, 100% of the own brand packaging recyclables. There are 5 fields of actions. Reduce is the first, remove from assortment, e.g. disposable plastic tableware, then redesign, changing the packaging design to reduce or substitute plastic, recycle, closing the loops and testing recycling options for the material, remove, supporting cleanup projects to reduce plastic input in the environment. This is the field of action where our project is located. And final, research support on research projects. The other partner of our project is Waste for Change. I think Waste for Change is well known here. They have a booth at the expo, and you're invited to meet them there. And in the opening ceremony, Zano gives his ideas for responsible waste management. So Waste for Change has a really impressive project and reference list. Congratulations to that company. I've only copied 2 slides of Waste for Change to give an impression of that company. Waste for Change is a social company, social enterprise, and the aim is implementing circular economy in Indonesia in 3 sections. They are working, this is research and study, program assistance, and campaign. On the other hand, they are providing end-to-end solutions for waste management into business units. Yeah. Okay, we can go one ahead. Yes. Now we came to One Earth, One Ocean. One Earth, One Ocean is a non-profit NGO based in Munich and Kiel in Germany, founded 2011 by Günter Bodin. We have about 450 members, and we support and initiate water and coastal cleanup projects worldwide. The activities of the organization are environmental education. This are we doing in schools, marine litter removal and cleanups, and microplastic research in our own lab. Our central development project is the so-called sea elephant system. This is a converted multi-purpose ship for sorting and processing marine plastic litter. The main figures are feasibility study is done for the pilot system in May 2019, this year. The investment volume is about 12 million euro, and the capacity for sorting and processing up to 40 tons per day. If you want more information on this project, please feel free to contact me. I'm in the breaks and in the evening available on that item. Let's come to the details on that project, on that sea hamster project. The idea was born when we looked at the Bekasi River during a joint visit of the city government in May this year. We are having a river trip and get some informations, and we have seen some hotspot at the Bekasi rivers, and this was the hour when we try to figure out what can we do. Bekasi city government acknowledged the cooperation and support this project. The next slide, you can see some impressions on that boat trip on the river, some hotspots that we have seen, and that are hotspot situations we can handle with our equipment the cleanup catamaran Seehamster. We have a similar project from our organization One Earth, One Ocean in Cambodia, Battambang, where we clean up the Sangye River, also with boats and with local people. So we have some experience on that field, and we think that this joint project where we collect information in partnership to the mentioned companies is a very good idea to start giving contribution to reduce the entry of waste in the Java Sea. I've already mentioned the first point of the goals, establishing of long-term river cleaning and circular economy structures in Bekasi city. The second one is unique in the field of waste collecting boats. This is minimization of the ecological footprint by using electric drives and solar energy for boat operation. We have outside at the booth of recycling, if possible, and reasonable. The concept is now in progress. The next slide shows the temporal structure of the project, starting in the third quarter until 2020. The decision was made in the third quarter this year, and we will reach full cleanup capacity with the 3 catamarans from middle of 2020. Potentially, we can collect up to 1.5 tons per day. This is a relatively small contribution in reduction, but a contribution where we are sure that we can handle it. Until then, there are some milestones still have to be worked through. Next slide. This is the project equipment, Seehamster Bekasi 1. On the left side, you can see the drawings of the boat equipped above, and below you see the platform. The catamaran design has 2 advantages. The first advantage is the great stability of the great stability on the water, even when the crew is standing on one side to collect waste. And the additional advantage of the boat, of that boat especially, is the very quick dismantling of railings, roof and helm stand. So even under very low bridges can be driven through. This is important. We have seen it in May because the bridges are really, really beneath. The table shows special configuration possibilities. The length of the boat could vary between 5.5 meters to 7.5 meters. And we have load capacity on that boat that we have just here from 1.3 tons, I think, up to 2 tons that we can handle. In the next slide, we see modular configuration possibilities. The collecting system can be a ramp, can be a conveyor, can be a shovel. The engine system is preferable, the electric drive, and for sure it's also possible to equip this boat with a regular petrol engine. The equipment, you can take a handstand, toolbox, pallet cage for waste, roof, and for the recovery of larger objects, for example, the boat could also be equipped with a small crane. Okay, I've so much talking about the boat. The original plan was to have the boat here at the ICEF, but unfortunately the logistics didn't work as we want, and we have the boat in the moment in the customs. Could be that we can display it tomorrow. Thank you very much to Sano and his team from Waste for Change. They are trying constantly finding solutions for getting the boat out of the customs. It's not that easy then in Germany to handle these customs items. Okay, next slide. Here we can see our charging station. It's a standard container, 20 or 40 feet. In this case, we have a 40 feet container. And on the top of the container, we see the panels, the solar panels mounted. Of course, it's also possible to charge the battery directly from the power supply, but we have equipped the eDrive with a large battery. The battery capacity is 5,000 watt hours. The technology is coming from BMW i3, so that a daily operation can be ensured with a regular slow speed at a cleanup trip. However, these things must be tested again under real conditions because the range is strongly depending on water flow and on the speed and other operating conditions. If necessary, you have to take a spare battery so you have not to swim to the start point. And the next point brings me to the end of the presentation. At that moment, it's not clear what we will do with the waste exactly, what we will sort and what will be recycled and how we will deal with organic and residual waste. The aim is to separate and to recycle the collected waste as far as possible and reasonable. I think it's important that the concept gives a differentiation between long-term, middle-term and short-term strategies because the most important thing is not only to make concepts to begin is the most important thing, and therefore we have this boat at the beginning of our project directly brought to Indonesia. Very important is the next point. The recycling concept should ensure that the waste
Frank from One Earth, One Ocean, and we are really curious to see the display tomorrow, hopefully. And I would like to welcome our last speaker, Tommy Forinen, and he worked as a research team leader at VTT Technical Research Center of Finland, and he has been working last 5 years developing solutions for plastic material and circularity. And please welcome and give applause to Tommy Forinen, and we will have 15-minute presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will come here also that I can see the presentation. So, good afternoon, everybody. I will first tell a little bit where I come from. I hope. Yes. So Finland is here up north, and we have usually a beautiful summer between two winters. Okay. That direction, yes. So just quickly about VTT. So we are governmentally owned research organization, research institute, and we were established 75 years ago. There is 2,000 employees at VTT, and we are now doing more and more business outside of Finland, abroad, so 44% is now at the moment of our turnover is coming outside of our borders. What? Okay, yes, and we are seeking solutions for the huge challenges, and those two which are more related to circular economy are the industrial renewal and resource sufficiency. Am I pressing? Yes, wrong buttons. Yes, so first, something about plastics. My background is chemistry. I'm physical chemist, so I look these. We have had so many good presentations already about how to collect the plastic waste, but now I try to point out what to do with the plastic waste. So let's pretend that we have already collected all the plastic waste, so the problems don't stop there. Plastics is not just one plastic. There is lots of polymers, and there are even from the same polymers there are lots of plastics made of it, because plastic is a blend of polymer and additives and fillers and stuff like that. So basically, even if there is, you have seen these labels, but then if you consider the products made of these plastics, so it can be that polypropylene can be found, for example, from all of these forms. So how to recycle them? There is no one exact solution to do that. Then how things are done in Europe. European Union established almost 2 years ago this circular economy strategy, how to for plastics. And there is, of course, why packaging material is in important role, and one reason is seen here. So demand in EU is roughly 40% of plastic is used for packaging, and then from the plastic waste, roughly 60% is packaging, or from plastic waste is packaging materials. This is one reason why packaging material has so much importance in all talks, and how the numbers have developed in Europe with recycling plastic packaging waste. They have almost doubled the recycling and energy recovery, and landfilling has gone almost to half. This is in total in Europe. There are in some countries there are still more than half of the plastic waste is going to landfill, but there are almost 10 countries which have already landfill ban on plastic. So it's either recycled or incinerated or used energy. In Finland, this separated collection of household packaging waste, plastic waste is done so that there is roughly 550 collection points in Finland where people can bring the plastic waste, sorted plastic waste, packaging plastic waste, and this producer responsibility scheme is taking care of the expenses there. So this is why it's limited to plastic packaging waste only. And then there are also in some cities there are the local waste management companies, waste companies are collecting separately plastic waste, so that increases the collection. Then in Finland, also in Finland, in many European countries, in Nordic countries, we have this refunding system or deposit system for beverage bottles and cans, and in Finland the 90% of PET bottles are coming back to recycle, because people don't want to throw money away, because you can get 20, it's roughly 10% of the price of the soda bottle, for example, is just a deposit, so you will get money back when you bring that in the shop, and this is very efficient way also to keep the bottles away from the nature. Then this is like this is a picture from Ellen MacArthur Foundation's report, how things were with plastic packaging materials globally. So it's I hope the situation is better today, but there's only like 2% is the estimate that of the plastic material was coming back to the cycle, like the closed loop cycle, and then the like the goal is to get this kind of rates where there is the reuse and then materials would recycle as material to keep the resources going on. And what it makes this challenging is this. There are like this is, sorry, a little bit too small text, so it's not properly seen, but there are like two flows, those which are coming from consumer-based and industrial-based, and what are easy are the monomaterials which are known and which are clean, the source is known and the cleanliness is good, they are easy to recycle, but then unfortunately there will be always some part of the waste will be mixed and contaminated, and then we don't even know where it came from. This is, hopefully it can be reduced or minimized to very small, but most probably it will always be there. And this is the problem there to get the 100% recycle rates. How to then minimize this? Ellen MacArthur has presented these 3 schemes how to make the plastic waste collection more efficient. So 30% of the material can be lost from the cycle if there is not made a better design for the products. That means that there are small pieces of plastic leaving they are not, well, small pieces of plastics are left over, so this is like today we have discussion in Europe that the bottle caps should be fixed so that they are not, you cannot drop them out, and then reusing of material, or not the material but the product, the containers for example, that would recover 20% of the plastics, and 50% is related to this, that the mechanical quality and the value of the material itself should be enhanced and made more profitable to reuse and recycle. And how to get the plastic circular economy to work, there is like I pointed out here 4 points. So there should be efficient material management, and now this is not only the waste management but also the raw material management. And then we should rethink the economics, because at the moment plastics are, as a product, they are so much supported, or they are created for the linear economy, and it's very, very difficult to turn them to circular economy without total rethinking of the concepts. And technical points are how to design products and materials that they are easier to recycle. For example, thinking again of these multi-layer, multi-material films, for example, which are quite difficult to recycle mechanically because they are a combination of different kind of plastics. And then the fourth thing is that we should retain the material properties and the value. So this is related to all of these 4 or 3 points before that. Then how this could be, and what does it mean that what is one way to retain the value? Here is just a simple case of how the high-density polyethylene bottles were tested their recyclability, and we were aiming for this processability here, that how it would change. So this is very common. I guess it's third common plastic for plastic packaging. So HDPE you can find almost everywhere. So we did it so that first we grind it and the bottles and washed them and dried them, and then we remelt it and granulated it, made it as a new plastic. Then we repeated this part of it 7 times, and there was, let's say that the melt flow, how the melt flows, it decreased tragically. So and also the melt viscosity was changed. So there was something was happening there, and I will not go into the details. We know what happened there, but so this means that even if you recycle just a pure polymer, it changes the properties, the processing properties. So when processing properties are changed, this makes it also for the plastic converters more hard to, it makes harder to control the process. So that this makes it also more costly to use even high quality recycled material or pure material. So this is why we are now constructing actually a pilot line in our premises at VTT in Tampere to control the melt flow characteristics and the rheology of plastic, recycled thermoplastics. So there will be that we control the streams melt flow index, and we measure it, and then there is the twin screw extruder there, where the melt processing is happening, and after that we measure the rheology of the plastic melt, and there is the control unit which will take then care of that this is very much in control and stable, and this increases the value. Then another thing what we do is that we design for the circularity. We make new materials, we make prototypes for applications, packaging and other products. Then another thing is what is also lots of talk is the chemical recycling. So at VTT we have also possibilities to make pyrolysis oil or then gasification monomers via that route to create new virgin plastics from old plastics. And Well, then there is last slide about the non-tox European project, where there is ways to combine chemical treatments and mechanical and also thermochemical processes to get better quality recycled plastics from electronic waste, plastics, then construction and demolition waste, and then end-of-life vehicles, plastics from those products. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tommy Forinen from VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And before we start with Q&A session, I would like to ask Professor Kanan related with relation between university and industry. Because like in here, if we are talking about Indonesia, if we want to improve about technology, there should be a linkage between the between the campus, between the university innovation with what the industry needs. Could you explain the lesson learned from Denmark, how to boost collaboration so the technology could answer what is the challenge in real?
Thank you. So in Denmark, we have a lot of opportunities to collaborate between the university and the industries. So we have some major foundations called as Innovations Fund, then Industries Fund. So mainly they focus on the industrial problem, how the researchers can help the industry people to solve their practical issues and so on. So we have a lot of opportunities in terms of research things. So Innovations Fund in the sense like we can also do research as well as solving the practical issues, which is useful for the society. And then in terms of like the Industries Fund, mainly focus on the industrial problem. So the main focus will be like solving the industrial problem, how we can help the industries and so on. In terms of research also, we have a separate stream called as academic PhDs, industrial PhDs. Mostly the guys who are employed at the industry, so they come to us at the universities, then they do their PhD, practical oriented PhDs to solve their company's problem and so on. So we have a lot of opportunities in Denmark. It's a well-established whole system, I would say, for handling the practical issues and then collaborating with industries and so on. And very recently, like not recently, like last 6 years, we have also, in the engineering field, we have also made a forum called as Manufacturing Academy of Denmark, where a lot of manufacturing industries are part of this association. And then for every 3 years, we are also going for national funding, which will be around like 100 million kronas or something, where the industry people collaborate with the academicians. So major 5 universities, we have academic partners, and then we try to solve the industrial problem using this one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering the question. Now I will open for Q&A session for public. If there is a question, you can raise your hand. Is there any question related to technology or how to implement in Indonesia or about circular economy in the plastic?
Ya, selamat sore. Selamat sore. Perkenalkan, nama saya Dita dari Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan. Saya nanya lagi bahasa Indonesia, nggak apa-apa ya, Kak?
It's okay.
It's okay. Ya, biar lebih mudah dimengerti. Jadi untuk yang tadi pembersihan Kali Bekasi, tadi kan ada rencana proyek untuk pembersihan Kali Bekasi. Nah itu saya mau nanya, ada nggak edukasi selama pembersihan Kali Bekasi itu. Karena saat kita membersihkan saja, otomatis kayaknya akan kotor lagi, habis bersih kotor lagi gitu. Kalau di proyeknya itu ada nggak sekaligus mengedukasi warga sekitar agar nggak buang sampah lagi di sungai gitu. Terima kasih.
Okay, so the question goes to the Dr. Harold Frank from World Earth One Ocean. And Mrs. Dita from Ministry of Environment asks, is there any program or activity to educate the community around Bekasi River? Because if we are talking about clean up, it's just the end activity. And the most important is like to engage the community, not to throw the waste, and also to improve segregation from the source.
Yes, for sure. This is also planned, but we are just starting. I told with this project, and we have to do some more paperwork and planning. But also, in our opinion, it's really important to involve all the local stakeholders in this process and educate what's to do with that kind of waste. This project can be step by step, year by year, a little bigger. We can learn from mistakes from the beginning, and could be we can transfer this project to other regions, to other communities. But the most important thing, once more, is to start on, and for sure, in the beginning, there will be mistakes and it will not work perfectly. So we go ahead step by step by step and improve. So at the end, it would be better. And if we learn how to do it, I think we come to a next level, not only cleaning up rivers inside the country could be we create bigger solutions for bigger amounts of waste. But once more, the ideas are available, the technology is available, especially in Europe and in Germany, money is available. I expect that more action take place, and not only making presentations, taking action on these very important items, especially for our children and the next generations. Yes, thank you.
And can you also explain from your experience related to the project with the river cleanup, how to collaborate with community in your previous project?
I'm not the specialist on that project in Cambodia, but I think the best is that Leonard can explain on that project some words. Leonard, will we come to me?
Yeah, hi also of my side. Yeah, I was at our project in Cambodia, and for example, I was there 2 months working with the local people, also help them a little bit, but I was always asking them, how would you do it? Because they are the professionals in that case, right? So what we do is we go with the boat outside, searching for a river bank or like a hotspot. Then we clean it. We have 5 collectors, which are all local people. They were before they worked in the at the dam site, let's say, and yeah. Then we collect, sort the plastic, and after that we always put a banner. We leave a banner there because we say that please don't litter this hotspot again. So that is what we do for education. Also when people are coming, because most of the times it's beneath a house or just at the riverbanks where a lot of local people are living. So they are coming and asking us what we are doing there. Then we explain that we are cleaning. We explain what's bad about throwing just the plastics on the ground or in the river. and then they understand. We tell them how long last the plastics in the water, how long last the plastics in the nature, because a lot of people, they are not aware of it. They don't know how long plastic actually lasts in the nature. Yeah, that is what we are doing for the education. Of course, there are a lot of children. We also collaborate with the school, which was built on the dump site. Around 40 children are going to this school. We are teaching English there, and also we are teaching a lot of the problem of plastics and how we can make it better in the future.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Any question for public? Okay, Mbak Mita.
Good afternoon. I'm Chandra Paramita. I'm from TES Indonesia. We are one of the e-waste recycler in Indonesia. I'd like to address my question to Mr. Tommy Vuorinen. I'd like to explore in your experience, what are the challenges to develop a plastic recycling facility for plastic coming from e-waste? So is it possible to develop from small, medium enterprises, or is it needed big investment? Because in Indonesia, the plastic recycler mostly is SME, and is it possible that we develop this recycling plastic for them? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I tried to answer it correctly, let's say, but this is probably not the whole truth, but let's say that everything is possible, of course, but I'm a little bit concerned about this, that with plastic industry in general, it's the volume which brings the profit. So this can be challenging to make it profitable. It's of course so much depending on location where it is. So in Indonesia it might work better than, for example, in Europe. But in general, I know only the prices of I have, or let's say that I have some knowledge or approximate of the prices of plastics in Europe. Let's say that the virgin polyethylene is something like 1.5 to 2 euros per kilogram, and recycled polyethylene is 70 to 80 euro cents, so it's about half or 70% of the price. So this is like it's not so straightforward question to answer that. So we can have a discussion after this, for example, and reflect the thoughts, but there is so much more on the demand and quality and everything. So how much are the customers willing to pay for the recycled plastic? That is question, and how efficiently recycling process is made, how much that costs, and like that.
Hello, good afternoon. I would like to address my question to Mr. Tommy. I'm sorry, my name is Lavidia. I'm from Environmental Engineering alumni of ITB. And so I heard that microplastic becoming a hot issue, but only a few people know about it. And my question is, does microplastic included in plastic circular? And what is the technique to collect, recycle, and filter out the microplastic. Because as we know, plastic waste in ocean eventually will becoming degrade and will becoming a micro size. And because of that microplastic, we could say that our sea is like sea confetti. And I really want to know, because our problem is not only for plastic, for macroplastic, but eventually we will face microplastic issue. Thank you so much.
This is even more interesting question, yes. And this is a very difficult question, and I'm not sure I even answer to that, because I'm not expert on microplastics, but in general it is a big issue, and it can become even bigger issue. Nobody knows it yet well enough, so probably I will not comment on this, but there are techniques. I know some filtering techniques, but filtering an ocean with those techniques, it's impossible. So better not to let the plastic leak to the nature. That's easier to prevent them, is not to leave that, let them go to the nature, plastics. Yeah.
We welcome also our speaker, maybe Professor Kanan or Dr. Halt. Is there any technology to catch microplastic?
No. I'm not the technician. I have economic education, but so far I don't know productive technology to get the microplastics. And nanoplastics for sure, definitely not. So we have to face this problem. This was a very good question, and also our technology in the moment can only focus on the macroplastic and on the microplastic on the surface, because there are many plastics, wastes, whatever that is in the water column and probably on the ground. This problem is, I think, also a very big problem on the ground. You can't get it from the ground and collect it and recycle it. You can only take it from the surface. So our idea is to prevent that the plastic comes out of the river in the ocean. This is the best. Prevent it, or then collect it when it is fresh on the water, and you can take it from the surface. But microplastic and macroplastic, microplastic and nanoplastic is a big issue and should be researched to find solutions on that.
I don't have any expertise in the plastic at all. So I'm a supply chain expert. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there any question? Okay.
I have not a question, but I can add it maybe a little bit to the last question, because you still don't have any answer. There is some technology, yeah. But then you have to know what the sources are. There are different sources of microplastics. And in the Netherlands, from our department is managing the rivers, so we have to deal with that, and also the breakdown from macroplastics, but also the primary microplastics, what we have from washing your clothes, going into the sewage, and you have the paint coming with weathering, from the houses, from the tires, the rubber going into so there are many different sources from microplastics, but also what you say, the degradation of the macroplastics as well. Well, I fully agree, don't let the macroplastics come into the environment, because that's the best way of preventing macroplastics from that. From the sewage from your clothes, there are some filtering techniques after cleaning the sewage water. So it's recently also on some installation already installed, but there is an opportunity to do something about that. Because with every washing what you have, I think for every part of cloth, there are 1,000 particles of microplastics from PET, mostly PET, or going into the sewage and so on. So there are some techniques, and also in the water itself, it's not used for cleaning, but more for the monitoring. We have advanced monitoring systems, and we also have some sieving systems for at least seeing how much on microplastics are going into the rivers to the sea already. But that's all very recent, these kind of techniques. But there is some development in that as well. That's what I wanted to add. I hope you're satisfied.
Thank you so much, Pa, for additional information. And maybe it would be interesting topic also for next step research. And since we have limited time, so I should close for Q&A session. And I would like to welcome our speaker to give closing statement about the technology or maybe lesson learned to improve circular economy in Indonesia.
So my closing remark will be try to involve all the stakeholders during the implementation process of the circular economy. So if you are alone in the whole chain, then the possibility of or the success of implementing the circular economy will be very limited, and then you may be focusing on only optimizing your own chain. But the circular economy implementation needs to be a global optimization. Everyone needs to be coordinated, and then you try to look into the success as a single success rather than like a specific individual stakeholder success.
I think we all know this is a global problem, but it should be the solution should be a local solution. And good in this situation is that the technology is available and the ideas are available. The money is worldwide, I think, available, and the best is to bring all these things together from Europe, from Asia, from wherever, to make collaborative projects and find solutions on that.
I agree on this also, and I'd like to add there that especially not although it's a global problem and it should be solved locally, but there will be many small and bigger cycles, probably loops, so there will be smaller circular economies and bigger circular economies, and that will hopefully solve the problems with material sufficiency, resource sufficiency, and waste problems also.
So as a conclusion, it's really important since if we are talking about plastic, and also circular economy is part of the global action, but need to implement by local solution. And I would like to say thank you so much for our speaker to come here, for Professor Kanan Govindan from University of Southern Denmark, and Dr. Halt Frank, One Earth, One Ocean, and Tommy Fornin from VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of this presentation, and I would like to say thank you so much. And this is really fruitful discussion, and I hope that we could collaborate in the future related in the implementation of technology and how to improve circular economy in Indonesia. And I hope you enjoy the program, and I will give back the session to the MC. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give applause for the session 1. And ladies and gentlemen, before these verse sessions, and I would like to invite all speakers to join me stand up in the stage, because we will have token appreciation handed by the coordination of this event. It's Mr. Farhan Yowantara or Mr. Yan. please come to the stage and handed the token of appreciation for our 3 speakers in the stage. The verse is for Mr. Kanan. The next for Mr. Harlal. Okay, and the last one for Mr. Tommy. Okay. And with honor, I invite all speaker and also Mr. Rian and Ms. Faiza as a moderator to stand up in front of the stage. We will take picture together for the last session. Okay, so everyone, you can take picture for our speakers, moderator, and also the coordinator of this event in this first session of the Breakout 3 about the circular economy inspiration from Europe. Give applause for all speakers, moderator, and also the coordinator of this event. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Yan. Thank you. Okay. And thank you, Ms. Faiza. And ladies and gentlemen, after this, we will have second session for this Breakout 3 and focus talking about the construction and also infrastructure. But before that, we will have coffee break about 15 minutes. But before coffee break, I have an interesting section before we coffee break. Please, you can hold your mobile phone, each of you. So we will have feedback form for the first session in this Breakout 3. You can also open in your browser about bit.ly/insight-breakout3. And then I hope each of you can fulfill the feedback from us. During you can fulfill this form, you can also enjoy the coffee break outside of this room about 15 minutes. And after that, we will back to this room again, and we will have second session for Breakout 3 and focus talking about construction and also infrastructure with 3 speakers. We'll back. Thank you so much. Good afternoon.